Next up, we have structuration theory. Now, in structuration theory, it explains how people structure their groups by making active use of rules and resources. So, in the previous theory, we talked about cohesiveness, bonding. Then we also talked about how groups can be almost like a machine. Now, with structuration theory, we're talking about, okay, how do we behave in order to create an effective group? So with structuration theory, is how people structure their groups and make active use of rules and resources. When we join a new group, we use rules that we have experienced in other groups to dictate how do we behave in the current group. So for example, when you enter a classroom, because you're college students, if you've been in classrooms before, most of you, unless you were homeschooled, but most people have been in classrooms before, so you know what to do when you come in. As an instructor, I know what my role is when we come in, so because we've had experiences with classrooms, we know how to act in that context. So you might have had good experiences or bad experiences with groups, but you take that knowledge with you as you form your new group. So because this theory focuses on behaviors, we have to define, okay, what are rules and what are systems? So these are a little bit more connected, structuration theory and systems theory. So rules are explicit or implied prescriptions that affect how people behave in a group. So for example, in the syllabus, I have my rules and best practices of how to behave in the class. And one of your first assignments is the group contract. Like, how are you guys going to behave and interact with each other? And I have you guys do that because I want you guys to be really clear about your expectations of yourselves and each other in this experience. Then, of course, we have systems, the group composed of many different elements, referred to the systems theory. They use some of the same ideas. In this particular image, it just talks about how structure prescribes action and vice versa. Because you know the structure of your group and you've been in groups before, it dictates your actions. You might make modifications, and then when you're out of the group, when we dissolve these groups in December, you're going to take those experiences with new groups or new teams. And that's the idea. You want to learn, in this class, we want to learn how to effectively deal with group dynamics. So, hope you have pretty good experiences here. And then finally, we have functional theory. Function refers to the effect of a given behavior within a group system. So with functional theory, we're trying to figure out, okay, we want an effective group. We want effective results. We want effective outputs, so on and so forth. So how do we behave in order to achieve those goals? So pretty much when we talk about functional theory, we're focusing on the problems that are being solved within a group. So with that, we're trying to determine if we satisfy task requirements. So in the 3 projects, I will give you a prescribe what's required, and then your output or your results will be based on to what degree and how effectively did you achieve what I needed you to achieve in those assignments. Overcoming constraints. So for example, we have time constraints because you only have so many weeks to complete a project. Then you have not only the time constraints that I'm imposing on you, but the time constraints of each individual's lives and how do we come together? How do you make the best use of your time when you do come together? And then reviewing the process. So with each project, especially towards the end, you're going to figure out, or review and reflect what worked and what didn't work. And as long as you have that communication and you're willing to change behaviors to make it effective and cohesive and okay with everyone, then that's a really good sign that, hey, the group is working well. When groups that don't communicate, shut down, argue, and things like that, it takes away from the goal of the class, and it takes away from the goal of the teams to work together to produce a product or project. So to dive in, and I hope that this little mini screen isn't blocking, I think I'm able to move it within my recording system, but if it still remains, don't worry, I do have these PowerPoints available for you, so my apologies. But to satisfy task requirements include understanding problems, brainstorming, finding acceptable solutions, evaluating alternative solutions, so thinking about, okay, if this doesn't work, what's my plan B, plan C, and implementing the solution, putting the solution to good use. Now, overcoming constraints, like for example, we have time, stress from deadlines, conflicts within the group. How do we overcome those outside or inside forces to complete the work satisfactorily? And taking time to review the process, reviewing your choices and reconsidering, hey, if there's any alternatives, if necessary. Okay, so tonight we reviewed several theories. We reviewed the systems theory, social exchange theory, symbolic convergence theory, structuration theory, and functional theory. So hopefully you can use some of the theories to move forward, and you can use these theories to understand group dynamics. Now, of course, as time goes on, we're going to be introduced to new theories, but also practical solutions and practical skills for completing the assignments and taking these skills to other projects and your careers. So thank you so much for joining me, and if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll see you again soon. All right, bye everyone.